Joining me now to help tackle this from a legal perspective is trial lawyer and legal analyst Richard Schoenstein. Richard, good afternoon. You've been watching all of this play out. Were you at all surprised by the defense team saying, hey, Allen needs to stay behind bars and stay detained?
No, I mean, they have zero chance of getting this guy out of jail. He ran towards a crowd armed and intending to shoot and did, in fact, shoot. It is alleged a violent crime. There's very strong evidence of it. There's no way he's getting out of jail. So if I was on the defense, I wouldn't even be advocating it. That's a serious hurt to your credibility to go into court with that kind of argument.
Richard, one of the things I did find interesting was we heard the judge push back on the prosecution a bit, who wanted to lay out more details of the case. And my question is twofold. Why would the prosecution want to do that? It seems like they were already a step ahead there. Why would they want to do it? And why did the judge feel the need to push back on that?
I don't know why the judge pushed back on it. I thought that was kind of interesting, too. From the prosecution standpoint, they just want to have enough to keep him behind bars and to bring their charges. And there's going to be a preliminary conference coming up, I think, in a few weeks, and they want to get to that. They don't need to put out more because they're still investigating this crime, right? They got to make sure he's not the only person involved. They have to follow leads and see if he had any kind of help or assistance or there's anybody else. So they don't want to publicize all of the evidence they have while they're in the course of an investigation.
He agreed to be detained in this morning's hearing, but reserved his right to challenge that detention going forward. Do you think maybe down the line they will try to challenge that in the future? And what would be the rationale in doing so?
So I totally understand preserving the right to challenge that. They should do that. They should preserve the right if they have grounds to challenge it. But the grounds that were sort of put out there that this was a speculative prosecution, I mean, this guy is caught on video and there are eyewitnesses to what he was doing. So I don't know how it's speculative. I don't know what circumstances would arise that would release an alleged violent criminal like this prior to his trial. Could it happen? Sure, it could happen, but I don't know what it would be.
Richard, I want to ask you, from a defense perspective there, how do you defend this case? Does it help that he is described as highly intelligent? He seemed to have been well-liked within his community, and it also seems as though he, we know at this point, had no criminal history.
Yeah, all of those things help, Nick. But again, he's accused of trying to assassinate the president, or at the very minimum, to run into a room full of thousands of people armed and intending to shoot. So I don't know how much his clean record, his clean prior record, and his good reputation in the community helps if the prosecution can prove that he did that. And if the prosecution can prove, as they've indicated, that it appears to have been politically motivated. In those circumstances, I'm not sure he gets much of an advantage from his prior clean record.
We heard the attorney, Janine Pirro, prosecutor, say that more charges will be coming forward. We can expect more charges. What could those possibly be when we already see the 3 very serious charges, including attempting to assassinate the president?
Well, I mean, I guess he has attempted to assassinate the president. Transportation of a firearm, discharge of a firearm, you list there. But how about attempted murder? Because he apparently shot at a law enforcement officer. So that could be charged. He could face some sort of terrorism charges because essentially what he was planning was a mass shooting. So it does seem to me that there are other things that might get charged down the road. Again, they just brought the charges necessary to move this process forward and keep him behind bars.
It seems to be another example of how hard it is for law enforcement to detect these threats. These lone wolves, as they often describe, and the way he moved allegedly across the country from California by train. So what appears to be avoiding detection there. It's also been reported that the DOJ was allegedly not allowing Allen to meet with his lawyer in private. Richard, is that a problem?
Yeah, that would be a problem. I would have a problem with that if he's not allowed some time to meet with his lawyer in private. That is his right. As I understand it, he has a public defender from the Federal Defender's Office. That's who appeared in court today. He should be able to consult with them. No matter what the charges are, he's still innocent until proven guilty. He still gets the right to a lawyer. He still gets the right to put on a defense. We have to protect all of those rights no matter what he's accused of doing.
Richard, what are you looking for next? I've got 30 seconds there.
Well, I want to see what the other charges are, and I want to see what further evidence comes out of this investigation. And I very much want to understand if he is indeed a lone wolf or if he was part of a pack. That would be the big question for something like this.
Richard Schoenstein, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Great to be here.